Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present Thieves of State, Why Corruption Threatens Global Security by Sarah Chayes. Narrated by the author.
Chapter 1. If I see somebody planting an IED. Afghanistan, 2009. The man before me, young, passionate, brilliant, difficult, was transfigured with a barely contained rage. I called the chief of police, he plunged on with his story. And you know what he said? He asked me, well, did he die of it? Think about that. You call that law? Nurullah and I and perhaps a half-dozen others were sitting behind the stout mud-brick walls of the compound that served as our workshop, tucked away on one of the unpaved back streets of Kandahar, Afghanistan. I can't remember now what we were doing, eating a breakfast of spiced tea and our own almond butter on flat bread, or else packaging bars of the handcrafted soap we lovingly manufactured there. This would have been early 2009. Nurullah was telling me what had happened to his brother. We were always doing this, sharing stories as we worked. It took hours each day just to process it all. Improvised bombs would rattle our windows as they detonated, pounding the air like thunderclaps, or like great objects falling in the next room. I used the formal Arabic word for explosion, infijar. The guys had trouble pronouncing it. The Pashto was so much more intuitive, patau. We'd climb up to the roof to look for the smoke, or else not, for fear of presenting a target. We'd try to guess the direction of the sound and think of someone to call on that side of town. We'd listen avidly to stories of the Taliban's rule a few dozen miles away in the flat, vine-studded village where Abdullahad's brother tended his land, the makeshift mines the militants buried to keep people indoors at night, the taxes they collected, the telephone tree where they hung the carcasses of cell phones they confiscated from passers-by and broke with rocks. They didn't hang the people there. They hung the people at the former schoolhouse. Just as often, the horror stories were about the Afghan government. An Albany man whose father was blown up in a 2005 explosion during a funeral at a mosque had to pay a bribe to get provincial clerks to fill out the death certificate. Big, gutsy Nargis from the wild country in the north, with her gypsy air, was married to the garbage man, a wizened whitebeard who heeled a little to the right as he trundled his wheelbarrow from house to house on our well-kept dirt street. They, like so many other Kandaharis, lived in the graveyard, in a hovel built.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?